Are you seeing more video on Pinterest? And I bet you are. You probably have more questions than you have answers. We're going to talk today about, does video really work on Pinterest? You know, can it really be effective for generating website traffic? Because that's all we want, really. We really do. What kind of videos work best on Pinterest? And if you are a complete newbie, how in the world do you create video pins? We're going to talk about that all on today's show, the brand new titled Marketing Unleashed. Very excited for you guys to be here with us today. I'm joined with two super smart and lovely ladies, Alisa Meredith, my co-host, and Kate All from Simple Pin Media. But before we get into introductions, you know, last week we got really, really close to having 300 live viewers all at one time. So if you would like pass the love around to all your social networks, I'm trying not to say something that would get us in trouble with Facebook. It's just like, I'm not saying that one word, but if we can hit 300 viewers today, and if you guys, the first person who takes a screenshot of us going past 300 will get a brand spanking new, non-worn Tailwind t-shirt. So that's not one of mine. It's a brand one. It'll be wrapped up in the package.
I don't know. I think they should have a choice if they want.
No, we'll get some crazy people who will actually ask for that. So you need to be quiet there, Lisa. So,
right, okay,
but we do have, I want to go ahead and bring this up on screen, a special. And Lisa, go ahead and talk to a little bit about this URL I brought up on screen here.
Okay, so that URL will give you either 100 free pins or 30 free Instagram posts. Plus, if you choose to upgrade to either or both, you get $15 off.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah. So make sure you use
that. So what is that URL again? It's bit.ly.
Yes, bit.ly/marketing-unleashed. Make sure you have the dash in there.
Right.
bit.ly /marketing-unleashed. That's the name of our new show. You know what? Let us know down below if you like that title. If you don't like it, well, we'll probably keep it anyway. But we want to know if you like it or not. Let us know. But we've got a great show for you, talking about all about video pins today. Alisa, why don't you introduce our guest?
Our guest, Kate All, Simple Pin Media. Kate is a smarty in business and in Pinterest. She has a wonderful podcast called Simple Pin Podcast, which I highly recommend, as well as a Facebook group where you can find out all the things that are happening, especially in the blogger world of Pinterest land. And trust me, there's always something going on, right, Kate?
Always. That group is very chatty.
Yes. Yeah, and Kate, you're working on something special right now that just launched this week, I believe. I'd like to hear about that.
Yes. Oh, so great. The Simple Pin Collective. It's our membership site for Pinterest marketing education. And I am so pumped about it. So if you want to hear more, just go to simplepinmedia.com and you'll see Simple Pin Collective in the upper right hand corner of the site.
And real quick, I want to give a shout out to people who are watching right now. Heather is actually streaming to her TV. Oh my goodness, we're probably really scary at that big monitor. But thank you so much. As we go in through the show today, if you have questions, drop them down below. We're going to bring them up on the screen and try to answer them the best we can. So we're really excited to interact with you guys today. So Alisa, take us away. I mean, because this video pin stuff is just... We're all really excited about it. Well, maybe Alisa not as much as Kate and I, but we're really excited.
I'm jacked about it. Bring it on.
Yeah, okay, so the reason Jeff says that is because I'm not, in general, a video fan anyway. I would rather read because I can read a lot faster than I can listen, and I get very impatient with video. But the lovely thing about Pinterest video is that they are so short, I don't have time to get impatient. And as I've been experimenting with them a bit more, I'm coming around. Jeff.
All right, there you go.
Yeah.
That's what we want to hear.
Yeah. We're talking about Pinterest video, and I thought of Kate because she had a podcast episode on her show, Simple Pin Podcast, with someone who's had tremendous success with Pinterest video. She started out as a YouTuber with, I think, 190,000 subscribers for a knitting channel, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yes, so she came on to talk to you about what works. So I thought, as we're investigating this video thing, I'm going to have Kate on here to share what you learned from her and what you've learned from trying this for your clients. And then I've been experimenting, and we know Jeff is the video guy, so we have a whole lot to share today. So let's just talk about our initial feelings about video. I talked about mine a minute ago, just not a fan generally, get impatient, would rather read, but I like these little short things on
Right.
Pinterest. So you guys have been firmly in the video camp from the beginning. So tell me about that.
Yeah. So for me, I think, I think probably about a year and a half ago, what I would have said about video is that it just felt like a speed bump. Like it wasn't really anything that I felt like users were ready to really embrace. And that was when we saw them release it to promoted pin advertisers. So we were kind of like, how is this going to work? It feels kind of weird. But once they came out with a native player for everybody to use, what I thought was really cool is that they were short little snippets and they started to feel like they were peppered in throughout the feeds, and they started showing up at the top when you would search. Yeah. And I think that gradual kind of wade into the water approach for Pinterest worked. And I think it was because we just hadn't seen how video was going to work on the platform. And Pinterest users, they're dreamers. Like they're planning, they're exploring, they're building awareness. And I love this tiny snippet, less than a minute, gets them curious about what they want to do or create. And for that reason, I've really, really started to like them and feel like it's unique in the way that Pinterest is using it, which is what I love about Pinterest, and how there's no big tricks to it, right? Like where we talk about Facebook and we can't say a certain word and something like that. Pinterest just doesn't have that many like tricks to it. So for me, I think when I saw the native player, when I saw that people could start to upload it organically, it just clicked for me. And I really saw how it's going to be a benefit for both the pinner and the marketer. And I think those two things have to be in place in order for something new to work on any platform.
Okay. And Jeff, what about you?
Well, I tell people like, what are video pins on Pinterest? What is that? I always say they're like Harry Potter pins. Because if remember on Harry Potter, when they open a newspaper, you'd see this moving image, almost like it was a GIF on paper. And so that's what it is for me on Pinterest. And the reason I loved them so much is because they stop people. Everybody's used to static images for the most part in the feed. And when you saw that movement stuff, remember when they did the kind of the GIF pins where you would scroll up and it would
Honda
move?
one?
Yeah, where you would move and it would move like that. That was something that caught your eye. And so I've been using it back for even the Manly Pinterest Tip show and the video stuff. When I would put my YouTube in Pinterest because it would play natively on Pinterest, and I'd even get some traffic on there from that. So I love video just because it's so different from what people are used to, and anything that gets people to stop in their tracks a little bit, I think is a good thing. But I'm with Kate. I'm glad the way they rolled it out. They didn't just dump it on everybody, and all of a sudden we're our feed is full of video, which I don't think Pinterest people, we know them, they would rebel and throw a fit. And so they didn't do that. They were smart. So I think that the way they're doing it is really cool. And I think, because I know a lot of people, and us grubby little marketers, we're always trying to take advantage of everything. And I know that people have been dumping a lot of video pins on there, but the algorithm is keeping them far enough apart. It doesn't feel like I'm being vomited on by video. I guess that's what I'm saying. That's a hashtag, vomit video.
Yeah, that's going to be a clip for sure.
Yeah, so I think, like Kate was saying, I think they're doing it really well.
Yeah, I agree. I think that my assumption with Pinterest video is that it might get a lot of impressions, but it would not get many clicks. And I saw quite a few people talking about that, but I don't actually think that has to be the case. I think it's similar to any other pin that you put out there, and it makes me think about the way infographics work. With infographics, you tend to get a lot of engagement, and especially a lot of saves, but not a lot of clicks if you give it all away, right? So if you put every piece of information they need on the infographic, of course they're just going to save it and never go to your site because they don't need to. So the same thing with a video pin. If you put it all in the video and they don't need to go to your site, you're not going to get clicks. But if you can put a little mystery back into things, you may just get them to click.
Well, Camilla says, I love video pins. They have given my traffic a huge boost. So they're working for some people traffic-wise. So I'm excited. Because I actually, and we'll get into this later, but doing some promoted video pins, but I think is another option for people. But yeah, I think it's
oh my goodness,
exciting.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm glad you brought that up about the promoted, because I've been experimenting with the video pins, and the easiest way to really figure out what works faster is to pay for impressions with promoted pins. So you can actually run a traffic campaign with video now, so that instead of paying just for impressions, you're only paying for clicks, which is what I've been waiting for. I know, right? So
it's still being rolled out though. It's because I just got it. But it's not for everybody.
Okay.
Yeah. So I haven't had it for a while. So just give me that option.
I get everything last these days. So I'm
yeah,
get it like
it's true.
6 months from
You're
now.
on some list.
Shadow ban.
Somewhere,
Shadow ban on Pinterest.
Shadow ban. Just heard that rumor.
Yeah.
Shadow ban for one. It's just for Kate.
Yes. Just for me.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's amazing. When I go in and I run a promoted pin, my suggested bids are like maybe $2 to $4 a click would be my suggested. I never bid that much, but putting in for my promoted pin, I think the suggested bid was 14 cents a click. And I was like, oh, sign me up.
Yeah.
So there's not a lot of competition there. So if you have that option, absolutely go for it. Now, whether they will convert as well or not is, a different story, and it's more up to me, because once Pinterest gives me the clicks, I got to figure out what to do with them. But I will say too that I was looking at the click-through rate on my pins, and some of them, and probably like my first horrible tests, were like a 0.01% click-through rate, which is terrible. But on the later one, which I promoted, so this includes promoted and organic, the click-through rate was more like 1%, which is pretty good. So, and I still don't think I did the right thing with that video. I think it's not optimal for Pinterest video, but they're giving me enough impressions and I'm putting it in the right place. So it's really working. So, hey, if it works, I like it. I am converted.
And you tested. I mean, that's the best part, is a lot of people don't test or allow time to test things. It's not going to be 100% out right out of the gate, right? So you got to figure it out.
Yeah, I'm a terrible video creator, and I feel like video is kind of intimidating for people.
Either. It is very intimidating for people, but
it's intimidating for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, before
so we're going to talk about how to do that too.
Yeah. So I want to bring up this. So this could kind of lead into that question. Bobette says, "What are the tips to best get clicks with video?" Which, so I think first of all, we kind of need to decide. I mean, kind of discuss what are the formats we need to use for Pinterest? What do they accept? How long? All that stuff. So I'll let you guys discuss that first, because that's important.
Sure. Well, I think that looking at the numbers, it makes it a little more frightening than it needs to be. Really, most video editors that you use are going to allow you to put out a video that's going to work. But I think some of the main things are the length. So it has to be at least 4 seconds long, and at the most 15 minutes. As far as this aspect ratio, it's like a regular pin. So you can do squares, which is handy because you might be using square videos other places, or you can do the typical 2 to 3, or you could go just under the 1 to 2 ratio. So that would be like 500 wide, 1,000 tall. Now, Kate, in your group, there's been a lot of excitement about pins where people have taken a square video and put either over it or under it a square image that appears to be a still image, and people are like, how do you do that? Have you gotten a good answer on how to do that? Okay.
So the only thing that I've heard from is you can't do it in Canva, you can't do it in PicMonkey, you do have to do it in Photoshop. That's what a lot of people I've heard from, they're doing it in there. I'm sure there's other programs you can, but we figured out that they're testing them out in there, and they are really doing pretty well. I know Kristen, the one I interviewed on the podcast, some of those that she has, just some of the stats was that she got 1.8 million views on one of them, 37,000 saves, and 4,000 clicks. So like that just really shows like she is getting clicks. She's getting traffic. The other one had 840,000 views, 28,000 saves, and over 6,000 clicks. So whatever you do, whatever size, what we're seeing is that less than a minute is really that sweet spot, that teaser. I think what you said about the, that infographic, we're giving too much away. And I think that's why when you get down to that less than a minute, you're just giving such a teaser that people are like, ooh, I want to make that. And they see the final product And then they're like, where do I get the supplies? Where do I get more?
Right. So with Kristen, she's actually showing like how to do it, and then below the finished product, which so smart. And she's not even promoting, right? That's just all organic.
No, that's all organic since December. So that, you know, like the biggest complaint with Pinterest is that everything's a slow burn, right? Like it takes a while to take off. These have really leveled up for her a new form of traffic. And that's what I've been telling everybody. Like, if you can test this out, that's another way to unlock more clicks to your site.
Jennifer brings up a good point. You can do it in any video editing program, ScreenFlow, etc.
Okay.
I'm going to give a list of apps that I've used before that you can do that kind of same thing with. Some of you can actually do it on your phone. You know, it's just a little harder, or on your iPad. But I love what you said about under a minute, Kate, because and teasing it. The only long ones I've seen, like I would never put this show on as a thing. It was just like, what's going on here? Now I would take clips from that and stack it, and that's what we're planning on doing, is taking and stacking little, like, we asked you, Kate, a great question, and she gave a great answer. That's a perfect under a minute little thing that can go on there and become a video pin, and I can stack it because I'm recording everybody's camera. So, but also I want people to think about anything that you're maybe using for an Instagram story. That's a perfect way. Any tool that you're using to create Instagram stories, or things that worked really well on Instagram that you have, or an IGTV, think about using some of those as video pins, because it's the perfect format. Most of the time, everything's short. If you're using Instagram stories to create a promo for a product, that might be something that you could use, because there's a lot of good, cool templates for that. So the only long ones that I've seen that really work are recipes, like Tasty made stuff where people are putting them on there and you can actually follow along and pause a video in your kitchen while you're making something. Recipes are the only ones I think that might work longer. But for the most part, I would say yes, the smaller and, teasing what you're going to talk about on your blog or whatever is the best way to go.
Yeah. Pinterest actually recommends 20 seconds on the creators page. And I've been looking at the videos that exactly. I've been looking at the watch time on the videos that I put out, and they start at a very sad 4 seconds and go all the way up to 11 seconds. So yeah. Keep them short. And then the other thing too is if it's dependent on what you're saying, you want to put your text on your image, so that because people generally aren't going to click to listen to video, especially because they're going to be on mobile most of the time. And then they're standing in line at the grocery store. They're not going to turn on the sound because that's just weird. But Kate
and annoying for the rest of us.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I was looking the other day to see how are they working on desktop. So Kate, you and I tested this, right? Yeah. So you can't really get them to show up unless you include the word video in your search at this time. That's how it's working. So mostly we're going to see them on mobile, and they're going to be playing in your feed, which is cool. And you'll probably notice a lot of video at the top too, which is why we're getting a lot of impressions for those new videos that come out. They're getting put up at the top.
So we've got some people here who are asking the question, is there an example of what we were talking about? So let me bring up one of the examples that we pulled up earlier, and this. Are we back? Can you hear me? You couldn't hear me?
Yes.
You couldn't hear anything I was saying, could you? All right.
No, we could see that pin playing, but we couldn't hear anything.
I'm not going to even try. So why don't you explain what we just saw?
So this was a video pin. This was a video pin that I saw as I was doing something, and sent to our designer at Tailwind, Justine, who's amazing. And I said, Justine, I want this pin because it just absolutely captured my attention with that still image in the front and just the really pretty moving background. Yeah, I love that pin.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I just
think
did
it
a
could work
search too, so
great.
you could see like it just basic like keto recipes.
Mhm.
You guys can see that the whole top of it automatically scrolls right to left with video. That's what I get all the time now. So
I just realized this could be the keto podcast too, because we're all doing it. But
I know, right?
Pinterest
Everyone's like,
is
don't
our
talk
friend.
about keto.
Yeah, right.
Katrina
Yeah.
makes a good point. She goes that you can actually turn on or off the autoplay feature in your settings. So that's really cool. I have a feeling most people leave it to autoplay unless they're
Yeah,
like
I wanted
really
to.
concerned about their data and then want to like suck down video stuff. So anyway, I thought that was a good tip.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So short, hook people in from the beginning. So the video that I promoted accidentally has a white opening screen, which is terrible. For some reason it works. Maybe it looks like it's broken and people are intrigued, so they click through to see why. But in general, you want to have something that's really eye-catching, like that pink turning flower video.
Mhm.
Yeah, and you can choose your cover photo. And I thought it wasn't working because I kept trying to click. Well, you slide along the video
Right.
to choose your opening frame, which gives you some pretty fun options to choose from. We actually heard somebody at Social Media Examiner talking about using an opening frame, like if it's your face, to pick the one with the weirdest facial expression because
Well,
people click on it. Have you heard that?
Well, I was the one who
I
said
heard that.
because
Were you?
Was it you?
I
Yeah.
was listening.
because and this was something on Instagram because we were sharing some video feed posts, like video in the feed of Instagram. And the one that did really well was there was one where I was talking about a tool and I looked like I was like sneezing or something. And it was the weirdest like
great.
facial ever. It just kind of automatically picked that one and it did the best. And we experimented and we tested. Now that works on Instagram, so I can't give you 100% if that works on Pinterest or not. But I would assume so. Anytime you have something weird or like, I mean, that's why in YouTube you see all those thumbnails where people are going, pointing and stuff. Because you're trying to get people to stop the scroll. And I have a feeling it works probably the same way on Pinterest. So I would give that a test. Try some different thumbnails. Sometimes, and I know this, especially for pinners and especially in this audience, everybody wants to have the perfect looking image. And sometimes you have to let that go to get them to stop the scroll because that's how you're going to stand out compared to everything else. That's why you go, I know everybody's looking at Pinterest sometimes, they're like, how is this pin got 20 million pins? It's not promoted. I mean, and it's ugly and horrible.
Yeah.
Some reason, that's just the way it is.
Or it's raw chicken breast.
Yes.
Because for some reason, raw chicken gets well, and you know what it is it's relatable. Like most everybody has chicken in their fridge or their freezer. And it's like, oh, okay, we can start there. Like we can do it. And I think that's a good like hero image or that opening one. Even if you're doing a project, like have it show what's in there because it makes that mental connection for people.
Right.
Like, oh, I have all this. Yeah, I can do that.
Right.
Yeah.
Here's
I'm seeing. Okay.
Oh, here's a great question from Melissa. She goes, what's the best practice for sharing the same video to more than one board? I've been scheduling them via Pinterest Scheduler with within several days apart, and repeats are still visible in video tab. No idea if this is good or bad. What are you guys' thoughts on that?
Well,
I'll let Alisa go first.
Okay, and I want to hear what you have to say. In general, Pinterest does say share your pins to any relevant board. So if it fits on another board, put it on another board. The video tab is on your profile now, which is handy for you, right? And for me, seeing where my videos are because otherwise they're hard to spot on your own feed. But people aren't generally going to your profile and checking these things out. So I would not worry about that personally. What do you think, Kate?
No, I agree with you. And I've been begging Tailwind, for a way to schedule video now for a while. I put in my requests often. But in the podcast we did, Kristen talked about how she scheduled out with multiple tabs and that helped her kind of look for all the relevant boards and then schedule with days in between. And I think the practice that she's doing is totally fine. There's no right or wrong way to do it. The whole goal is like, how does it serve your audience and how do you get them the content that they need that will help them come to your site to get more? So if that works, it works.
Yeah, completely agree. And I want to go back to getting over having the perfect images. One of my accounts that I've had forever, the pin that is still the most popular is the ugliest pin I ever have made in my life. And yes, I'm embarrassed when it surfaces, but that's the experience everyone has. So if your first few videos, like mine, are a little embarrassing, I think that's okay. We all have to start somewhere. And if they bring you traffic, well, then who cares what they look like?
Mm-hmm.
But I have seen some recently that feel like they're trying to be videos, but they're really not. So it'll just be a pin, and all that changes out is like the text color or something flashes,
Like
and it doesn't
GIF,
feel
Right.
Yeah, it's actually a video. So they've made it a video, but it doesn't really add anything to the experience of the pin, and it's actually a little annoying because you feel like they're just trying to game the system by getting in the video feed.
But don't you think they're doing it because it's working? That's what I want.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I think at least they're trying. Maybe they're experimenting with video and they're saying, oh, I get a lot of impressions, maybe it's working, maybe it's not. Maybe they're just trying to figure it out. But Pinterest has said that if you have a video that tells a story, as opposed to that kind of like stitching together images or just using a GIF type file, you get a 32% longer view time. So if view time is important to you, then like make a real video, tell a story with your video, show your product in action, and get people to click.
Kate, do you, I mean, I know Pinterest would never say this officially, but do you think that video pins are getting more of a boost in the algorithm right now than other pins, just because they want to kind of go in the video direction?
Yeah, I would say for some of our clients and the things that they're testing, to see them get clicks and views so fast is really the indicator to me. And I think with Pinterest, going public, they need to obviously prove that they're going to continue to make adjustments to the platform and stay current, right? And video is a very current thing that they were pretty behind on compared to everybody else, really. And so I think that's going to be a really big part of it. And it's fresh content. And they've said, we want fresh content. And so this video stuff, it's really good for you. If you have an older post that you're trying to revive, have somebody create a small video for you. So I do think that they are being prioritized just simply by what we're seeing in the numbers, and that we don't traditionally see new content take off fast. And these are taking off fast for some people if done right. Now, that's not you put a video up and it's going to go crazy. You've got to really have the right messaging on that pin to make it really work.
Those are great insights. But you know what? I think all we have to do is look at the feed and the search results. The videos are at the top. They're sprinkled throughout as well, but they're at the top. I mean, how much would you pay to get your pin at the top?
Yeah,
and they're not paying
totally.
anything.
Right. Yeah. And it would be I haven't done this, but it would be interesting to go through and do some searches to see when you're searching, do those videos change out with every new search that you do, or do you still see the same ones along the top? That would be actually a pretty cool kind of experiment to look through.
Yeah.
Here's go ahead.
You go ahead.
Nope, you go. I want to hear.
Okay. This is a really practical question from Colin. He goes, how would you use video pins to generate leads? Which I think is a great thing. And look at Kate's just ready to go with that one. Go. Why don't you go, Kate?
I know. I love it. Well, what I love about this is it's right there. It's the mindset, right? Like you're not just going for how do I generate more traffic, right? But then convert to like a lead. I think a really great one if you're a product seller, to talk about maybe what your offer is to, well, I'm thinking of one of our clients who does like handmade tile, and her lead is to get people on her list to get samples, right? Because if you can get the sample in the person's hand at their house, they're more likely to buy. So what would it be to show a video of the samples even being chosen or put into a package as a snippet of video, and then sending that to the landing page, or something that is an offering or an ebook, like something where you could actually like print it off and get some physical shots of it and then show that. And I think that is such a smart way to level up above your competition, who maybe is just like, get me as much traffic and then I'll convert it. You're actually pulling back that conversion, and you're trying to set the seed through that video. So I love that idea.
What
Yeah.
about you, Alisa? What do you think?
Well, the one that I'm testing right now is actually intended for lead generation. So it goes right to a landing page. Um, and so it's all built up around here's why you want to get this, and you definitely need to have a strong call to action, which you always do in a pin anyway. Um, but as I've found many times, sending to a landing page doesn't always convert as well as sending to a blog post first. I love Kate's idea because I can absolutely see where you would immediately opt in. Give me my tiles. Those are beautiful. But I'm feeling like mine probably needs to go to a blog post instead. So I think it just depends on what it is that you're offering and how you're trying to get people in, or what they're opting in for.
I think it'd be really good with somebody who's super smart with funnels. Like they have this really good visual of how you lead them down through the sale. And yeah, to that blog post, and then maybe to another thing and another thing. Just very smart to get them really warmed up, because Pinterest users are super bouncy. You know, I mean, that's kind of the complaint that people have is my bounce rate increases. Well, that's because they're so intent on finding the thing that helps them achieve their goals or buy their product that if they don't make an instant connection, they're gone. And so how can you really try to make that instant connection, that peak of curiosity that makes them want to stick around longer?
Great point. Something else that to keep in mind when you're creating pins, video pins, is your branding. So we're seeing a tremendous amount or tremendous number of impressions. So even if somebody does not click or doesn't do a close-up or doesn't save, the more they can get used to seeing your logo or your brand, the more awareness you're going to get, which I think is something some smaller businesses don't really put a lot of value behind because it's harder for them to track. But if you look at the bigger brands, they are including their branding on their pins. So while we're getting those massive impressions from video pins, absolutely you want to include your branding. So are we ready to talk about how to make these things?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah? Okay.
I love making these things. Yeah.
I know you do.
And
So
I'm just here to learn.
Tool. I only had one. I found Filmora.
Right.
And I took a square video that somebody had made for us, and then I put a rectangular image behind it to just take up more room visually and add a little bit of interest in the background. And that looks kind of cool, but I don't know what I'm doing. So
I'm sure it looks good. Yeah. So
yeah, tell me what you got.
Kate, what do you have? What do you have for creating pins? What do you use?
Straight up nothing. I mean, I will say video in general, like we do audiograms for the podcast, and we put those kind of like uploaded like video onto Pinterest.
Right.
But this is something especially as we're talking here, how to really wrap my brain around it as it pertains to a B2B, and really helping, connect with those business owners who need Pinterest help. A lot of the people that are on Pinterest for me are those who want to DIY their Pinterest marketing. So video has been something I've been afraid of. So I have to admit, while I love to champion other people doing it, I'm not the first one out of the gate to test it for myself. So
yeah.
Well, that being said,
you're going to get some good ones today. So
okay, wait, I have a question.
What's that?
What's an audiogram, Kate?
Ooh, well, it is where it's a small square. It's the box too. It has a picture behind it of who my guest is, and then maybe a simple pin branded photo. And it has the little thing that goes over the top where people are talking, and it looks like it's moving up and down. Right. So it has the sound bite plus the quote of the person and what they said. So if people want to listen to it with that line going up and down, it gives them the indication that they could hear it. And we use them both on Instagram and on Pinterest. And we've gotten some traction with it. I wouldn't say it's a lot just because it's different than an audiogram, but we're really trying to be brave and diversify instead of just doing a post, trying to see how many types of content we can put out there that will lead people back to the podcast. But I'm curious, Jeff, what you have, because I really want to see if we can challenge my fear.
Right. So one of the things that I would say to do those autograms, like you were just saying, One of my favorite things is to use, it's called headliner.app, and it's Headliner app, but headliner.app, and you can go and you can create those for free. Very, very cool. It also, and I'm experimenting right now with video pins using captions and burnt in captions. So like if you're doing a talking head, we found like on Instagram and on Facebook, because so many people play things without sound, and then if you're speaking or you have some message, a voiceover, if you put it burnt in captions and not rely on whatever social platform you're doing to do that for you, but burn them in yourself, and headliner.app can do that as well. So it's a great tool. Go look at that. I think you guys will like it for those kind of things. And you could also probably use it because it has an upload. You can actually edit video with it, so you can you can do the stories format. So you could probably use it to create video pins in other ways as well. So that's a very, very cool resource. And that's web based. So you do it on your desktop.
I love that.
Some other ones that you might want to look at, and some of my favorites for the iPhone and for the iPad is Video Leap. In fact, the pin I just put up yesterday, it's a video pin where I'm teaching how to do that pop-out graphic where I'm pointing at a video, at a button. That's just up now on Pinterest, and I used Video Leap inside my phone to create that. So very, very cool app. It is a premium app that you have to pay for. It's not a freebie one, but it's really, really good. And you can do, I believe, because it does 16 by 9, so I think you can probably stack those images on there. Promo is another great app to create, and it's a desktop-based one where you can create video with. Wave is another great app that you can use to create those story-style posts that you can create over and put them to Instagram. To video pin. Swish is an app by WordSwag, which pretty much now is WordSwag that has motion with it. If you guys are familiar making quotes for Pinterest using WordSwag, now you can actually, with Swish, you can have it move and do all sorts of cool stuff. That would be an option. Swish is a different one. Slider is the one by WordSwag. Swish is another app.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Swish is another app. Slider's the one by WordSwag. Anything for Instagram stories you should be able to use. Adobe Rush, which people have mentioned before, you can do. The cool thing about Adobe Rush is you can edit video on your phone, your iPad, and your desktop, and it syncs between them. And it does do the stories format as well, the tall posts. And then, like you mentioned, Headliner is the other one. So those are a bunch. And I've used them all, and they're great.
What's the easiest, though?
It depends on how. So when you go with easy, sometimes you are locked into some things. So I really like Promo, but you're kind of locked into their ecosystem. But they make really cool stuff. And the cool thing is you can make Facebook, Facebook ads to, Instagram stuff, and they have tons of really cool templates. Their video is really cool, and their music is really great. So it's worth it, and it can be a little pricey, but it's worth it if you are needing to crank stuff out really fast. Wave's really easy. All these are really pretty easy. Rush is a little bit more, and then a step up from that would be like Final Cut Pro or Adobe Premiere for some of those things. But Video Leap will probably do a lot of the stuff that you need it to do.
I'd love to hear from anyone in the audience if they have tried video on Pinterest or if they're creating their own videos, what they like to use.
Headliner, a lot of people. Anna says she's using Headliner for audiograms as well. So see, I was right. Katrina says wave.video. That's what I couldn't remember the last part of that. Wave.video is a great thing to do for video pins. Ripple, here's a couple other ones. Filmora Go and Ripple. And I've used Ripple before. I haven't used Go in a while. Another one is
there InShot? I've heard of that one.
Yeah, InShot's really cool. I believe that's from the same people who do InLight and Video Leap. So Ripple's okay. We've had some people asking about that. It's one of those ones you have to pay for to get all their templates, and it's pretty good. I mean, it's more of a motion kind of backgrounds for products and some text coming in. Like I said, you're kind of locked into their templates on some of these easier ones. So, and then Camilla says she's been using the IGTV format in Lumen 5 to make full-size videos. So that's cool. So those are quite a few. Lisa, you're muted. For some reason, I can't hear you.
Right. Sorry. So Kate brought something up that I knew was going to come up, although I did not expect it to come from my guest. That is scheduling, scheduling video pins. Right. So right now, the only way you can do it is with Pinterest's native scheduler, which is fine. It works. I've tried it. People sometimes think they're doing it through Tailwind, but what happens is it actually pins a static image. So we are working on this right now. It's up until very recently hasn't even been something we could consider, but now we are kind of working on it. So if you are interested in being a tester when we have something to test, please write in to Sieh. So that's help at tailwindapp.com, or write in on the app itself. So, and then when you do that, make sure you include this. I'm interested in being a part of testing for video scheduling, and we will keep you in mind and informed, because I know that makes life easier. Yes, is right. So we have a couple of new releases on Pinterest to talk about, unless there are more questions about video.
There was one. Phoebe asked this question, and I think it kind of makes some sense when we're doing it. She goes, "Can you upload audio to Pinterest? You used to be able to upload SoundCloud files and let them play natively inside of Pinterest. I don't know if that you can still do that right now. But what I would do is like what we were talking about, use that headliner.app thing to create like an audiogram. So because just having an audio file play wouldn't be that attractive to people on a visual platform. So I would really try to do what Kate has been doing, is taking clips from her podcast, having the video WAV file go and have some motion going and have it play that way. And I wouldn't put your whole podcast on there either. I'd probably break it up into bits and have like, hey, here's where we talked about video pins, or here's where we talked about scheduling, and break it up so people can get that information. And then if they want to hear the whole thing, they can click back to your website.
And I just left one in the comments for the one that Alisa and I did about tribes, and dropped that in there so people could see what it looks like.
Cool.
Excellent. Okay. So a couple of new releases that I've noticed, maybe you guys have seen some more. One is the ability to upload an image and then edit it to create a stylized pin right inside of Pinterest. So when you go and you click the little red button for create a pin, you upload your image, and then you have options to do things like add, you click edit pin, and then you can adjust the size by cropping, you can rotate, you can add in your logo, you can put text overlay. There are several different fonts to choose from. So it's an image editor right inside of Pinterest, which is, it's a little bit hidden, but it is there. And this is just nice. They want fresh content, and they're making it easier for people to create it.
Very cool.
Yeah. So then the other one is Pinterest Business Hub, which is...
What is this? Because I have no idea. You said you had it, and I'm like, what are you talking about? You're just making crap up now.
I don't have it either, Jeff. She's making it up. I've tried it multiple times.
All right. Well, yeah. The only way I can see it is if I'm not in the ads part of the platform. I just have to be in the regular, and I click on the profile name, and it comes up with Business Hub, profile, and add account. So it's making it easier to log in other accounts very easily. And also the Business Hub itself it has a couple of resources, like learn how Pinterest works, get answers in the Pinterest Help Center, and then underneath that is your recent pins, your ads, and then need help. So it's kind of,
So is it like Facebook Business Manager? Is that what it's trying to be? I'm confused in why I need it. I want it because I don't have it, of course. But why? What is the point of it?
I mean, they haven't said, but what it looks to me like, it's how they are going to communicate with business owners, right? So here are the best practices. Here are things you need to know. And then a quick way to find your recent pins and your ads, and a quick way to get to the help center.
Well, it looks...
Which I have to say that
Kate has it too.
That
so
would
I
be
don't know
good.
what's going on. Yeah.
That would be
Switch.
good. Yeah.
No,
I
don't have it.
Platform.
Yeah. I'm left in the dust.
The other Kate.
Oh, the other Kate. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry. But the thing is the biggest thing you're saying is that you can switch between accounts, because that would be worth it for me. If that's all it did, that's great, because switching between accounts would be awesome.
But haven't you guys been able to do that for a while?
Yeah, I don't think that's part of it. It's just in the same area.
Oh, I don't have that. What's going on?
Oh.
Pinterest, if you're out there, help.
If you're listening, try.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can add like multiple accounts and switch between them. It's pretty cool.
Dang.
very
Yeah,
cool.
because I'm always having to open up browsers and do all this stuff, all this cheapers. Come on, Pinterest. Listen, I'm the old guy with a beard
You know what?
on
It
Pinterest.
might
Come
be
on.
there, and you just maybe haven't seen it yet because, maybe you haven't clicked that button in a while. Try it.
That could probably
Yeah.
that could be true, but no, I've been in there a lot. So
Okay.
nanner.
All right. So that's what I've noticed recently. Anybody else?
I haven't seen anything.
New analytics.
Yes, I have that. Yes.
Love the new analytics.
I do too, but they did take away the top boards. So
Yes.
we did
That's why I
like
need
that
Tailwind.
feature a lot. I know. So yes, we go to Tailwind now to go through all the pin inspector of the boards and stuff. It's great, but we were kind of bummed to lose that. But I did cross compare the amount of clicks with Google Analytics, and I found that they more closely aligned than they have in the past, which they were only off by like 10, whereas before
Wow.
they were off by like hundreds.
Yeah, you don't
Right.
even.
So I was actually impressed.
Usually, you pick which one looks the best to send to your clients. That's what you have to do. And so
Totally.
it's like, because they've been off so much, now we're not going to be able to do that. But yeah, so let's talk for people who don't have the new analytics, why you like it so much. What do you get that was missing before?
I love the filtering
a lot.
options. A lot. So you can
Yes.
filter by paid or not. You can filter by pins that you saved or pins that other people saved. You can sort by pins to your site. You can sort by your Instagram photos that are on Pinterest. You can sort by other people's pins. It's just crazy. And then you can see how many impressions, how many close-ups, how many saves, how many link clicks, which is the best one. It's just really cool.
And they took out those 3 tabs and put it all kind of under one, which was nice because you had to kind of go to like profile and then this and then this, and you had to dig. With this, I also like that you can see mobile, desktop, and tablets also right at once instead of like drop down, change. It just was very clunky. And so I feel like, agreed, like right now you get more at your fingertips than you did before. And then to be able to cross compare the graphs with like a split, like you said, of the organic and paid, very cool for lots of people who are now running ads to be able to see at a snapshot without having to dig. That I think was the biggest value add, was there was less clicking.
Yes. And I could never remember which information was on which tab. It never sunk in. What I like too is that I was kind of surprised at the impact of other people's activity on the distribution of our content. Like, I guess I would have thought my own pinning would have had more impact than it did. So that it's just really interesting to see what people are reacting to also. And then I've always enjoyed seeing what pins of other people's are generating the most clicks. And now that you can sort it out, you just have a lot more to look at.
Can you, and I'm assuming you can download a CSV of all your analytics to import to your stuff. Do you guys do that? Is that something that you kind of recommend people do? No, you don't do it. Okay.
I don't, but
I avoid Excel sheets at all costs.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. But right now, I think you can go back 6 months.
You can go back 90 days. Well, yeah, I think you can make a bigger date range, which is 6 months. And then you can at a glance just click 90 days, which you couldn't do before. So that's another really cool feature, is to go back 90 days, which is really awesome.
Yeah. It's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
so
But I do 6 months. Yeah.
I think that's only the newest stuff that I've seen. It's funny. There's been some talk. There's always talk about Pinterest, and they had some things that it didn't do as well. out of the gate with the IPO and some of this other stuff that was in the news cycle last week. And I'm like, and people are like, well, no one's using Pinterest. I'm like, no, there's a reason they're $1 billion company and doing this. And there's a reason why big brands are using Pinterest, because it works. And like Kate said at the very, very beginning of the show, this is where people go to dream and to plan. It's a totally different monster than all the other social.
It's an escape.
Yeah. So if when you have that in your mindset, and okay, let's tie that all the way back to video pins. When you create pins, remember that's the audience that you're going to. When you're creating those video pins, remember people aren't just going to want to see your talking head on there unless it's something that has to do with something that improved their life. People really don't care about you. I'm sorry, they really don't on these platforms. They're there to get something for themselves. And Pinterest is probably, you know, people are going, they want to learn how to build a fire pit, or they want to know what kind of outfits are popular right now. I mean, they're going for them. And so if you can be that person that creates a video pin that scratches that itch, well, then that's why, like the example you gave of that lady on your podcast who got all the, because she was solving a problem, answering a question, providing valuable content. You just don't want to slap something up there and just saying, it's a video, let's see what happens.
Yes. I love this quote from Donald Miller lately. And well, it's not really a quote. It's kind of his whole marketing story brand thing to say, like, have your customer, reader, client be the hero. You're just the guide.
Right.
And she was the guide in teaching them how to create this amazing product and giving them that tool. And if we constantly do that for clients and for your readers, then everybody wins, because it's not about you. It's about them and helping them succeed at these things that they're dreaming about or want to buy or want to do. And when we have that mindset as a marketer, that is when, like, the sky's the limit. And that's when Pinterest works. And I think a lot of these big companies that I've seen, or even smaller brands, have a difficult time wrapping their brain around that when it comes to Pinterest. They take what they know about Instagram or Facebook and they apply it over here. And that's like instantly you're dead in the water. You're like, well, that's just not going to work. So, and then they say it's Pinterest. Well, Pinterest isn't the place for me. Well, actually it is. You just need to figure out how to communicate with your people there.
Right, exactly.
That's right. That's right.
Exactly.
I think you tied that right up in a bow, Kate.
Well,
so if you want to try Tailwind, yes, again, we're going to go to bit.ly/marketing-unleashed, and that will get you a free trial for Pinterest or Instagram, as well as $15 credit if you decide to upgrade.
Yeah, we'd love to see you there. And as always, we are, give us any ideas you would like for a show or a topic that we'd like to talk about. We are here every week with the new Marketing Unleashed show. And so we are so thankful for you guys with all the hiccups and everything, the power going off, dogs and cats living together, total anarchy. It's just crazy. But thank you for sticking with us to the end of this. We really appreciate you. We will be in the comments answering your questions. So if you have some, if you're watching this on the replay, we will be in there answering the comments later. But thank you so much for everybody. Thank you, ladies. I'll let you guys have the last word.
Kate, it's been too long. Thank you for coming by.
Happy to be here. So fun to talk about this, educating one person about Pinterest at a time. It's perfect.
That's right.
Hey, wait, that sounds familiar.
Yeah.
It does, doesn't it?
All right, everybody. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye now.
Bye.